My name is Eku Emmanuel. I discovered that I am coming from a background that if I don't help myself, nobody will. It's an experience of lack. It's an experience of deprivation. It's one experience that, in fact, I can't forget because I know where I'm coming from. One experience that also shaped me is the educational foundation. After trying so many times, I ran with this mentality of making sure that whatever I'm doing, I do it to my utmost best because I was already coming from a disadvantaged background. So education is one thing that shaped my life and also inspired me to be my best because I can't blame anything to that. And that is why I do all I can to self-develop, to self-improve, and continue to upgrade myself every single day till this minute. My name is Eku Emmanuel. Before now, people know me as a popular Broima. It has a lot to do with religious and church background and identity that people in my community or those I relate with. Of course, you know what that means. For any contemporary Nigerian will understand what bro means. It's largely tied to religious inclination. Even for some years now, if not that's what we have started doing intentionally, people will still gravitate towards addressing me as Broima and all of that. So, and of course, I take exception to that to allow it because those people that know me then are actually addicted sort of to it. So all of that has changed over years because of what we began to do and what we are building that is giving us or giving me a new identity as to who what I represent and who I'm becoming in the scheme of things. The pain and the experience that shape or is still shaping the man I am becoming today, there are quite a lot of them, but one that is profound is the fact that I discovered that I am coming from a background that if I don't help myself, nobody will. It's an experience of lack. It's an experience of deprivation. It's one experience that, in fact, I can't forget because I know where I'm coming from. One experience that also shaped me is the foundation, the educational foundation, and the level of education the kind of education I submitted myself to after trying so many times is one thing that also shaped me because I ran with this mentality of making sure that whatever I'm doing, I do it to my utmost best because I was already coming from a disadvantaged background because I can't, blame anything to that. And that is why I do all I can to self-develop, to self-improve, and continue to upgrade myself every single day till this minute. I barely talk when I meet some people because there is this, there is this perception I already have about where I'm coming from, not good enough. In fact, to speak and to communicate was a big struggle because I didn't know any better. So it was a struggle to measure up, to fit in, to align with people that reflect lifestyle I desire. But because my background is nothing to write home about, I struggle most of the time to even talk, to communicate, to make contribution, or to even air my view. Because how will I put it out there? How constructive will I be? And all of that. In fact, most times people will even think that, the way I appear, because by virtue of self-improvement and personal development, I began to intentionally, appear. But then within me, I know that the stuff is not there. And it was a limitation I had to struggle with over time before I began to, tell myself the truth that, no, this shouldn't be. I'm placing that limitation. It's a self-imposed limitation. It shouldn't be. So I began to intentionally work with it. And today, by the grace of God and by intentional living, I am sure that I'm no longer there. I'm well over it and I'm building on it as well. Giving up on my dream, I can't really place that was a moment I would say I give up on my dream. No, I can't say that, but my challenge was I couldn't find my bearing most of the time. There were no clarity as to what next to do, on how to go about it. In fact, why I thank God today that we didn't give up, if at all it was a challenge, is because I didn't know any better. All I knew is that I keep doing what I am convinced that is a path to progress and a path to greater destiny. My challenge is not knowing what to do and not being so sure, but somehow within me, I'm convinced that it's a path, provided it's not hurting anybody, provided it's not endangering any life, provided I am not trying to, take advantage of anyone or anything, detrimentally. I was ready to go all out, and I kept doing it, even when it's not making sense, even when people don't understand, even when they don't believe. Within down inside me, I know that I'm doing something that someday it will blossom. Someday it can make greater sense to people. And that's my story about that. I've never thought of giving up. My challenge was that I didn't know any better, and I was just doing it the best way I know possible. Seriously, there were moments of preparation and training where, as insurance agent those days, I had to use entire commission I earned in a month to print flyer just to gather youth to talk about purpose and destiny. That was it. Those were the days people, after a while, they looked at us as we are useless because these are graduates who could not find a job. But the only job he could find was to be an insurance agent. That doesn't require any special qualification. I attend conferences, I attend seminars with my commission. Some areas, some places we trek, some we jump bus, hang on the door, and all of that. Of course, even the early days of Sentinel business, most people know today, there are cases where there are seasons where myself and my partner, we are practically trekking a distance to mitigate transportation cost. You know what that means. But nobody saw it. But today, we are privileged to have access to cars and all of that, and people would think that we are lucky. Sincerely, there were days and years of preparation, years of lack, years of deprivation, years of humiliation that is birthing what people see today as success. But to us, it's just a bit of reward to those days. So I think it has a lot to do with preparation, years of preparation and labor and sacrifices to see that we build ourselves to represent the dream we talk about. My story into limelight, I wouldn't say it started because it has been a process, but it took a turn, dramatic turn, in one of the meetings I attended in Lagos, Nigeria, Bagada to be precise. And before then, I have grew from insurance agent to a supposed businessman who now has a shop where he goes every morning to meet with people, do insurance business, do printing work, and also position myself as someone who is growing himself as a public speaker and a thought leader, where people meet us for meetings, for seminars, bookings, and all of that. In fact, that season was a dramatic turn in my destiny and in my life, projecting me to the limelight. I was in that meeting organized by a friend who is now one of our board of advisors in Sentinel Holdings. In that meeting, I was put on a spot, what they call hot seats. And I was roasted seriously by business guys, entrepreneurs, guys who are building one or two things. And they asked me critical questions that at the end of the day, it dawned on me that I know nothing about business. In fact, I have been wasting my precious time. It was that day it dawned on me that what I was running with as a business idea, as a product or service, was just my feelings and emotions. I was doing my feelings, I was doing my emotion. I was not doing any business. Because one single question that brought the turn of the event that very day was that when they asked me, who are my customer? But that question was so big because the whole message centers around who do you establish your business for? Who are you serving? Because one thing is certain, the message of knowing your customer or knowing your target audience is when they don't come to you, you can go to them. So have you positioned yourself to attracting such people, or have you built yourself to go for such people to place a value on what you have? So it was that day I knew that printing a card and writing CEO is not a proof that you have a business. It's to know whether you have value proposition, products and services that is needed and useful to people. So it was that day I woke up and answered that, guy, I can't do this way any longer. I have to change. It was what shifted me to begin to think partnership in business, because a lot of things were running through my mind I could do at the same time, but I can't do it alone. And that was what led to the era of looking for partner. And after 1 or 2 years, I was able to tie that knot. And today, we are 9 years in that dream, and we are still scaling. I can boldly tell you that one of the things that kept me going was my faith in the things I was doing. In fact, faith was my currency because, like I said earlier, I didn't have any special advantage from where I'm coming from. It was the faith in God and faith in what I believe I was doing was what kept me going. And it led me on to this very moment. In fact, faith is my undying currency that keep pushing me on, because it has made me to understand that anything is possible provided I can give my all. Not only my best, provided I can give my all in pursuing it. So faith is a foundation of my leadership, because I haven't believed that this person can amount to something in life. In fact, I can believe for anyone who is ready to give him or put in the works that he can walk. So faith has shaped my life in no smaller measure. It has shaped the business we are building in no smaller measure. The business we are building today began with nothing. We began with zero capital. And it's the faith in what we wanted to do that kept pushing us. And we're here today where business is attracting billions in revenue. So it's a whole lot. So faith has been a strong currency I can't trade for anything all my life. Discussing failure is not something for me I would want to even waste time on, because he that is down need no fear falling. I was already down. I don't know what is even failure. I see myself as someone that is a work in progress all the time. What people may even call failure is a process of learning for me, and I can't identify anything called failure around me. The only thing is that I have expectation that I've not met. I have a milestone that I need to hit. I have dreams that in my heart that I still need to pursue. So what people may call failure, or what anyone may attribute to failure in my life, is a season of learning and training that have shaped and continue to shape me to the man I'm becoming. I have not failed before. And I'm not saying this to sound, to sound powerful or to sound lofty. It is just the honest truth. I have not failed. I keep learning on how to do things I'm doing better. Whatever anybody will call failure in my life is a window, is a season of training and learning. And I can't place anything except the fact that I'm still looking for a lot of things that I have not gotten. And for me, it is not failure. It is a process of training. It's a process of growth. And it's a process of, maturing into the things I want. My expectation is my problem, not what I've gone through. I don't have any regrets so far in my life. One thing is certain, there are things, if I want to do again now, I'll do it better. Because I didn't know any better then. So I don't have any regrets. So, but one thing is certain, there are things, if I want to do now, I will do it far better than the way I handled it in the past. My passion for helping young people, I'm still young myself, is the fact that the future lies in the hands of young people. And no one person can do it. And the truth is that we rise by lifting others. I knew what it means to experience lack. I know the struggle. I know the deprivation. I know the depression. I know the pain. I was trained by a widow, and I know what it means that someone wants to do a thing and he has no means or connection or access that will help him or her to really make it happen. I know that. And there's no young man that can look me in the face and tell me, Mr. Ma, I don't understand, except you're not ready to share your story. And I will offer you my own simple, my little advice. The truth is that a lot of young people need help. A lot of young people need help. They need to be guided. They need to be assisted to see things differently. Because most of us are consumed, overwhelmed, and we are almost at the point of breaking about the way this life is and the way even people are pushing some things to us. And that is why every young man today is naturally impatient, because most of us even feel that time is against us. Most of us feel that we have lost a lot. Most of us are not seeing a greater future. And that is why, if not properly guided, any young man can do anything just to survive. Our potential, when aligned better, we can do greater things. We have so much within us to unleash to make the world better. So, and what better way to do it other than offering a helping hand, or being that shoulder a young man or a young woman can lean on to see. Because one man said, if I have seen further, it's because I stood on the shoulder of those who have gone ahead of me. So if God has given us privilege to experience some things now, it is an opportunity for us to offer that helping hand to them, serious ones for that matter, to see how we can partner or assist or offer them access that will help them to begin to step into that big dream they have for themselves. And together, we build a world that we are going to bequeath to our children, and we'll be proud that we did it. For any young man who wants to really build and grow on purpose, one shortcut I know myself that any young man can really leverage on is mentorship. Mentorship is priceless, because a mentor will hold you by hand. He will not coerce you, he will not force you, but he will show you templates, show you principle, show you pattern and system you can leverage on. So not only move faster, but in a sustainable way. So any young man who doesn't have any sense of direction today, but deep inside, there is something he or she feel that he's called out for, should seek for mentorship. Should reach out and be mentored. And I can assure you, you will live to be grateful for it. Mentorship is one tool, is one, shortcut system for any young man to leverage on to bring himself or herself to limelight. Because a mentor will not give you relief. It's not going to hand charity to you, but it will help you to build capacity. A mentor will not give you fish, but a mentor will show you how to catch fish. A mentor will empower you, not torment you. A mentor will lead you on. A mentor will show you his scars, and with the goal for you never to have such scars. A mentor will hold you by hand and take you places where your struggling state may not take you in no distant time. So a mentor is a leverage that every young man should explore and build him or herself to the kind of life you want to live. And there are ways to go about this that we may not explore here. By the time you connect, begin to have a deeper conversation around it, because you need to know who should be a good mentor. You need to know difference between a mentor and tormentor, because these are classes you need to really go through to understand how to connect, how to engage, so that you can maximize your destiny. Getting a mentor is not a one-stray bullet. It's a buffet for me. It is not something you will just sit down and you will just sort out on the go. No. It begins with you. Who am I? Have I discovered myself? Who do I want to become? Because these are the foundational questions you need to ask yourself. Because when you know who you are and who you want to be, that's when I begin to paint a picture, the kind of person you need to work with as a mentor. Because not every successful person can mentor you. Because destiny differs, and they're in phases, and they're in stages. So before you begin to talk about getting a mentor, you need to find who you are. Of course, you need to have an idea. You may not you actually know it to a large extent, so to speak. But with a mentor also, he can help you to understand yourself better. But then you need to have an idea of who you are or who you should be, because that will now begin to help you to now know the kind of person that needs to mentor you. And before that, you must be willing to learn. You must be teachable. You must be willing to serve when necessary. And you must be willing to go all out to make yourself better, because your mentor is not your colleague. Your mentor is not your paddy person, or so to speak. Your mentor is more or less your teacher, is your guardian. It's not even your motivator, but you are inspirator. So you don't get motivated by a mentor, you are inspired by a mentor. And if you don't know, if you don't have a direction already, you'll be confused as to who should mentor you. So for me, know who you should be, have an idea of who you should be, know who you want to become, because this will begin to now paint the picture, the kind of person you should look up to or you want to have as a mentor. Because with that, you are ready to submit, because if you see where the person is and the person is heading in life, you can be sure that it's a path that you want to go. One mindset that is holding most young people down is scarcity mentality and get rich quick syndrome. Scarcity mentality is a mentality that poverty and lack and deprivation have sponsored over time, that even most people don't believe in themselves and don't believe they can become better. And that is why they're ready to do anything to just make a living or just make it happen. And again, the second mentality, if I should add, is get rich quick. Of course, it has a lot to do with it, because a lot of people who are running with scarcity mentality, they are the people that cannot endure to see things happen the normal way or the right way. For me, what separates dreamers and the builders is execution. Because the only way to start is to start. And until you start, you don't have any dream. Because there is a difference between wishful thinking and dream. Because any dream that you can't act on is not a dream, it's a wish. So execution is the defining, factor here between the dreamers and the builders. Builders slug it out. They roll their sleeves and go into the ring and slot it out. Builders are those who know that it's not enough to dream. You must act it out. You must slot it out. You must step out to execute what you are dreaming, because anybody can dream. Anybody can dream. Because at the field of execution, you will now revalidate whether you dreamt well. Because everything usually appears powerful and nice on the drawing board, on the drawing table. But by the time you get down to the field, you now begin to size it up and know how valid and how useful and how implementable it is. A couple of things we have thought over the years that were powerful, but it failed. It didn't work the way we expected them. And we learned from it. I could count 2 or 3 even in a company that we began that didn't turn out well. I mentioned two. We had a bigger dream about SIC, what we call Sentinel Investment Club. We launched it for your information. We did all we can to even launch it in a powerful environment like Sheraton Ikeja. But as we speak today, that dream didn't, come to life the way we thought of it. It was a bigger dream that we see onboarding players, real estate investors that will meet from time to time to discuss, investment and take advantage of opportunity. As we speak today, that particular dream didn't work out the way we planned it, despite all we put in it to make it happen. Even though it fueled another thing we are also doing, we rode on that and begin to do one of our major annual events that we are hosting now every October, and this year we'll make it 5th edition. So it's not a dream until you act on it. No matter what you think, until you step out, forget about those things you're thinking. What breaks my heart most is the fact that most of us are not ready to learn. Most of us are not ready to go through process of the glory they want to enjoy. A lot of us think that this era where you have internet, social media, and technology, that you don't need character to experience certain things. And it has been inundated by a lot of things, wrong, example by leaders, both in government and otherwise. And that is why young people are no longer patient to learn. They don't know that what you gain without character, you can lose it any day. So this generation need help. They need to begin to understand that there are patterns, there are systems, there are templates that no matter what anyone think, that you can't compromise. Rather, you postpone your doomsday. So this generation really need teachers and those with good example to help them to build to last. Because a lot of us are actually on a path to destruction, but only waiting to happen. I'm not a prophet of doom, but sincerely, there are ancient landmarks, there are principles, there are patterns you can't fight. It's a principle that runs the world, upon which life is built. And no matter what you think, no matter how you think you can circumvent it, if you shortcut it, you'll be cut short in life. So this generation needs to be taught that character is a virtue, character is a value, character is something that when everything fails, it remains, no matter what you go through. So we need to build character. We need to build tenacity. We need to build with resilience. We need to be people with good morals and attributes that becomes a currency, to trade with others or with people. What you don't build with character, you can lose it any day. People must be taught to build wealth, not to make money. Because a lot of us are making money without building wealth. These are the things people need to be taught. Because wealth you have not built, you can't manage. Anybody can make money. But how long it will last is the question. Because making money is one thing, managing money is another thing, and multiplying money is another thing. And that is why I recommend to people to not only to build wealth, but they must understand what it takes to manage it and multiply it. So it's a whole lot that anyone who is not ready to learn and go through process will chicken out on the event of things. There are experiences, there are so many of them. People are going through, rough life already because of wrong, approach to life. And they thought it is wealth. And they thought it's about making money. We must make money the right way. You must build to last. One thing about value and identity is getting it right, because there is ongoing redefinition of value in our world today. And that is what I call nuisance value come into place. We see it all over in social media. Nakedness is now a flex. Private part is no longer private. People now take pleasure in exposing themselves, and violence and anyhowness is now getting that petition of people. What people cherish now are the people that don't have value, long-lasting value, but it excites, it gives fun, and it provokes this animal aspect of man. So for me, if you must get it right, you must have a set of value that is based on principle for lasting success, not get quick rich, or not driven by fame or celebrity or whatever, or trend or frenzy. No, we must build character. That is why I will insist. Character is at the center of anything. Are you someone people can trust? Are you someone people can hand things over? Are you someone people can entrust things to? What are the values you tread with that anyone who wants to take you serious will depend on? What have you built over years? What is the level of your social capital? What do you contribute in making society better? How do you define your value? What does your value speak? What impact is it making? Who are your role models? Who do you take after? Who do you want to become? What kind of society do you want to live in or build? So these are the things that defines values and also identity. Because as we speak, the world is a God with identity crisis. From gender to nations to whatever you can think of, there is a huge identity crisis engulfing the world today. So we must define it. We must have hard conversation around what the right value or what the right identity should be, looking at the kind of world we want to build, looking at the kind of society we want to be in. Else, forget it, there is abuse going on in every facet of life, and people are ready. In fact, devil has won so many people and is propagating their ministry to an extent that if care is not taken, the world is lost. So we must define what identity is, we must define what value is. Else, there is such a called nuisance value, and a lot of people are even cashing out in today's world with it. What keeps me going is the vision I have for myself and the purpose that I run with, because where I am is nothing compared to where I want to be. So I am not there yet, and there is a lot of work to be done. In my business, there is a lot of work to be done. We are building a destination of choice in business for profitable and reliable investment. So it's not a walk in the park. We are looking at a stage where people walk into our organization and place value on the table that our value proposition also can match back to back with. So what we are building is huge, and we are just scratching the vision. So at this point, I cannot pretend that I have arrived. There's so much to do. There's so much to build, both tangible and intangible assets that are yet to, to be, sorted out, that will position us to attracting the kind of attention we need to serve our global market. So there's so much to be done. So what keeps me going is the vision and the expectation even people place on us, even at this stage. So much is expected of us, and we show up every day to see how we continue to offer solution and offer answers to them. So we cannot chicken out, because the vision is bigger than us, and there's so much to be done daily to continue to build on that path every day. One legacy is to see a man who walked with God despite his weaknesses, despite his limitation. A man who believed that with God, all things are possible. That is one legacy I want to leave behind. That anyone who watches my path will not see a perfect man, but a man who believes in the ability God has bequeathed to him to make a difference in his world. In my family, I want to be that one person that's ready to sacrifice to build others. In my business, I want to be that business leader who live by not what he preach, but by what he does. I want to leave a legacy of trust, a legacy of impact, a legacy of prosperity, and a legacy of progress. I want to leave a legacy of fear of God. Yes, we are not perfect, but then we serve a perfect God that's ready to take you from grass to grace. That's the legacy we want to leave. That when people look at our life, they see the possibility they can explore. And that if we have done this, they can do much more. So that is a legacy we want to leave. A legacy of impact, a legacy of trust, a legacy of progress and prosperity. No one runs faster than his or her mindset. Your mindset is more pronounced than the anointing you receive by laying on hands. Your mindset must be set on building for the long haul. Transgenerational wealth must begin with transgenerational mindset. How you think, how you act, and that's how you execute. And how you show up must really prove indeed that you want to build a generational wealth. Your mindset has to be sorted out. How large do you dream? What do you see? What are the conversations that gets your attention? You must concentrate on that. If you see 100 billion today, will you quit your dream? That's the question we are talking about. Can your dream be priced? Can your vision be bought? These are conversations if you want to build a generational wealth, because people think they are disciplined until they see until they experience some certain things, or they are exposed to certain things. So how large is your heart? How big is your dream? And that's where it begins. It begins in the mind. It begins with our mentality. It begins with our ability to dare our dreams and see it to a finish line. So how do we build? How do we position ourselves? What are the things that we gravitate towards? What are the value? What are our values, set of values? Not by wishful thinking, but by, dexterity of your commitment to that thing you want to do. Like I said, no one run faster or beyond his level of mindset in life. Ekwu Emmanuel is that young man that believes in the grace of God, not as a license for nonsense, but as a privilege to ride on to become that one man he has always desired to be. That's Ekwu Emmanuel. Ekwu Emmanuel is a work in progress. Ekwu Emmanuel is a project in God's hands. Ekwu Emmanuel is a die-hard to anything he is convinced about. Ekwu Emmanuel have grounds he cannot scatter because of the pain and the consequences of doing such. Ekwu Emmanuel is not a compromiser. Ekwu Emmanuel is not strong, but Ekwu Emmanuel runs with principles that make him strong. Ekwu Emmanuel is that one man you can trust. Even when he make mistake, he's not one man that pride in his mistakes, but ready to make amends and see that things get better. Ekwu Emmanuel believe in the mercy of God. Ekwu Emmanuel believe he's not perfect, but he can get better by the day. Ekwu Emmanuel does not live in the ugly past, but in the beauty of the greater future that he sees for himself and for everyone that walk around him. Ekwu Emmanuel cannot take advantage of you, but to see how even his mistake, he can make sure that he doesn't leave you worse than he met you. Ekwu Emmanuel run with the one single principle that If I cannot build you up, I cannot break you down. If I cannot lift you, I cannot bring you down. And if I cannot help you, I will not destroy you. Ekwu Emmanuel is one man that believes that with God, all things are possible. And with the right relationship, you can leverage and become anything, anyone, even your enemy cannot think of in life. So Ekwu Emmanuel is a diehard in building to last. And we must build to last. That is one philosophy I live with my team, I live with everybody around me. As a young man watching me, one thing I want to leave you with is this. If you don't have a big dream, find those who have one and be part of it. And don't just manage your role or your task. Try to own it. And I can assure you that the future will smile to you. If you don't have a purpose, if you have not discovered your purpose, join those who have discovered and play a part. Get ready to serve. Get ready to sacrifice. And I leave you with those two words. Be ready to serve and sacrifice. And I see you at the top.